shapeshift into different things instead of
Right.
just a
And
clown.
I guess maybe that was just because of probably, from the movie again. I don't think Stephen King intended possibly for them to become movies at any point. But because quite a lot of his work actually has turned out and become an actual live action film. But even then though, yeah, like with I guess, and sadly that just it's probably just because he's so iconic as being a clown.
Yeah.
Because and it's that that makes it creepy because it's supposed to be something so innocent, that, like, again, just someone that blows up balloons and makes you laugh and stuff like that. Now he's got these demonic looking teeth, and he's gonna eat a child because he's reaching into a drain vent. It's like, oh, that is kind of creepy.
Well, and I mean they make some of these clowns look like they make Pennywise look creepy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you've seen um the new the new costume for Pennywise,
Hmm.
it looks.
Oh yeah. Well, and even the show, I enjoyed the TV show American Horror Story.
Do
And
you?
they had, I think it was on the Freak Show series, was it the second or third? It was one of the, like, man, I don't know, maybe it was the third or fourth installment in that show, and they had a character who was a clown in that, and it was he was very creepy, and that he became kind of a meme for a period of time by creepy clowns, and he kind of beat out Pennywise, but now that the show's since moved on, that's not, I don't want to say forgotten, but it's not a big thing, where clowns are feared much anymore. And yeah, you're always gonna have someone that's gonna be afraid of clowns, regardless of whether
Right.
there's horror movies made around them. I mean, I'd venture a guess that maybe April wasn't terrified because of the movie It, but maybe just creeped out by clowns in general, because
Yeah.
it's the not knowing of who they are. It's like, I don't like you, just because of that. And and I don't get bothered because I don't have children, but I know most of that's what clowns are there for when I go to the circus. I like to see clowns at the circus because it's iconic. When I go to a fair or carnival, I don't care when I see a clown because I know that, oh, this is a fitting environment for them to be there. But they always seem to be in modern culture. I feel like there was probably imagine a trend where that became a pretty common thing, because I know American Horror Story and Stephen King and the live action films sparking from his book It. They're not the only ones that ever have creepy clowns be the bad guy in those movies. Again, I know I mentioned Batman earlier with the Joker, but um, it seems that that's that became a common theme for a period of time, to have something so innocent and childlike like as that become you know the embodiment of evil for some
Well,
reason.
and if you look at the original, the guy, like the original It from the other movie or
Mhm.
miniseries or whatever it was, um, he looks very kind of cartoonish. He actually looks
Yeah,
like a clown.
yeah,
The new one just looks demented.
yeah. It's not even,
Um,
yeah, it's not even supposed to, because I mean,
like the old one had like, a one piece jumpsuit and it had
yeah,
like a little bit of the frill, but it had like a white and then a purple layer and then another white layer.
yeah.
It had like a vest looking thing and yellow pants and like three yellow balls. This
Mhm.
new one, still has the frilly thing around his neck, but it's all white. The whole costume's white. It kind of looks like he's wearing a dress. It's got, kind of some pale red balls.
Mhm.
And then the face just looked like the face art looks sinister. Before it was, you know, just a red nose with a white face. Now it's white face, a little bit of a red nose, some lines going down that connect to the smile.
Mhm.
It just looks super, super, super creepy. Compared to the old one. And yeah, the old one had like, sharp teeth and um. But if you compare the two, I'm watching side by side.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just I don't know. I feel like they're getting a lot more creepy than they
Right, I'd
need to
say,
be.
because I mean, even Tim Curry's rendition was creepy just because of his mannerisms, action. I mean, as far as appearances, he just looked like a regular clown.
Right.
Whereas this other one is
Well, that's
supposed
what
to
this
look
one.
like
I
a
mean,
straight up demon.
if you look at this,
Yeah.
look at that. Look at the difference between the
Hmm.
two.
Oh yeah. It's like,
So,
which one would you want at your kid's birthday party?
which one was the first one? The Tim Curry one?
Yeah, Tim
That's
Curry,
that's the one that I
the
would
one on
choose.
the right.
Yeah,
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 I say that's he looks like a clown.
yeah.
The other guy looks like, I don't know, like
A killer.
a goth clown.
Right. Yeah,
But
I don't know. I'm
I feel bad for. I didn't know the clown industry was so. Well, I guess I figured they might be concerned, but at the same time,
I didn't know that there was a
I,
World Clown
I
Association.
I guess that is kind of humorous to me, but I can see how they'll probably suffer in business for a period of time while until it takes for this movie to die out.
Well, and then the fact that I really want to know if they were behind the random clowns that would show up.
I wonder. I'd say
I wonder if that was a thing that they tried to start, but it got so far out of hand that they, didn't they claimed not to be a part of it.
yeah. You're talking in terms of to promote the movie.
Yes.
I can see that. And I mean, it probably was maybe a few isolated incidents was actually them, but people, obviously people are stupid and they get ideas like that and they're like, "Oh, great. Let me carry around a big axe and then let's scare random people in the park."
See, I think the whole point was at first they paid a kid to, stand out dressed like a clown that looked really creepy
Yeah.
and run around.
Mhm.
And then I think that just caught on that, some other kids saw him doing it, so then they did it.
Mhm.
And it grew like wildfire, and then they're like, we're
Yeah.
gonna get ourselves as far away as possible from this.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. I know there was and I don't I think this kind of coincided when the clown incidents were happening as far as the appearances, but there's those stupid prank channels on YouTube that they'll just do the absolute most ludicrous ridiculous prank and then post it and say, "Oh, it was really funny." There was one I watched, and thankfully this happened in Europe where I'm pretty sure they would have got a bunch of bullet holes riddled to their body, but there was in a like a in a secluded parking garage, they'd have people would take an elevator to go get to their vehicle, and they come through the door and they had a guy dressed in a creepy clown mask with a chainsaw with the actual chain taken
Right.
off of it. And then they had a bunch of, fake but real looking, organs or remains of a person on the ground. And then he would chase the person when they came out of the elevator with the chainsaw dressed as a clown.
Right.
And I'm like,
Well, I mean,
I get if it's funny, like, boo, oh, you scared me, haha, that's a prank. That's just going to terrify someone.
well, there was one
So,
that I saw that I actually kind of liked. It was so they built this fake elevator,
hmm
and you walked in, and there was this, or you walked in and people were standing there and they pressed the button and it looked like an actual functioning elevator.
hmm
And then they had this girl crawl in that looked like,
oh, from the ring.
yeah, the girl from
Yeah.
the ring crawl in from the back and scare the crap out of people.
Yeah. The lights come back on, and then you see her just, curled up, rocking in the
Yeah.
corner. Yeah, that, and that would be terrifying. But at the same time, that's not, that's just that's more of a silly prank.
Yeah.
Whereas you got some guy chasing you with
Or like,
with a real chainsaw.
or like they set up a porta potty in
Yeah.
and had a guy walk into it. Next to it, they had like a what was it called? The big containers.
The shipping containers.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a giant shipping container, and in there they had some guys that they had like an office room set up,
Mhm.
and like a bunch of people sitting in it. And then when the guy would walk in, they would turn it just a little bit so it would face that. He'd walk out into an office room out of the porta potty, and be like, like,
Oh, that's great.
what happened?
Where am
Or
I
like
now?
Betty White. I mean, Betty White had that show, and I think she may still have it, where it was a whole bunch of people, old people, pranking people.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my favorites, I watched it for a little bit. One of my favorites was there was this guy that got out.
Mhm.
He said his name was Fred, and he was a black guy, and he was on this Amigo. He said, "Hey, could you watch this for me? I really need you to the bathroom." Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Someone was trying to be nice, and they watched it for him, and they walked into a porta potty, and then a white guy walks out and goes, and he had asked for her name.
Mhm.
He walks out and goes, "Thanks, Janice," and sits down and just drives away, and she's looking
Like,
back,
wait,
looking
what?
back, looking back, So to me those are funny,
Yeah.
and then they obviously reveal later that that it was a prank, and
Sure. Yeah.
or you got like an old lady sitting there and like a young guy walks up and they start making out. You know what I mean? Like fun
Yeah.
things like that. Like
Yeah.
that's fun, but like when
Yeah.
you're like that's pranking someone.
Yeah.
But when you're doing something
You're
weird,
gonna traumatize someone for the rest of their life.
like so there's a show that I like called iZombie,
Yeah.
and in the show, the premise of the show is this girl is a zombie. She became a zombie because of this tainted new designer drug called Utopium, turned
Yeah.
him into a zombie. And so she works at the morgue, and she just eats the brains. Well, she gets the most possessive trait from that person, like personality trait.
Mhm.
So like if they were like and usually it's like if they were like an avid gambler,
Mhm.
she would turn into a gambler.
Yeah.
Um, and there was this one where she ate the brain of a prankster, like one of the biggest pranksters on TV.
Mhm.
And it come to find out, his producer, he had pranked his producer and had slept with his girlfriend or his wife.
Oh gosh.
And then the guy walked in and he's like, "Got you," and I'm like, "That's not funny."
No.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's where they were at. It wasn't like a real show or anything, but that's where they were.
Sure.
That's they were trying to figure out motive.
Right.
They're like, "Well, that guy would definitely have motive,"
Mhm.
but it was like, that's not funny.
Yeah.
That's not a prank. And all these pranks that they were saying that this guy was pulling, I'm like, those aren't pranks. Those aren't funny.
No.
They're just mean to
I know
people.
I don't want to list any of them at all, but I know there's a few channels on YouTube like I've seen they do like mafia hit pranks. And they'll pull up to like a mall where there's a ton of people and just open up the back door of their car and just push a supposed dead body out the back of the car.
Right.
Some guy who's like, got a bunch of blood makeup, or it's a
Mannequin.
life looking mannequin, a lifelike looking mannequin or whatever. They'll just dump like a bloody bed sheet out the back of the car with supposedly a body wrapped up in it. And it's like, I know that that's not like exactly terrifying, but some people are uncomfortable at the sight of blood, dead bodies, stuff like that, and you're just gonna go do that in public in a very, very, very busy area. It's like that's just kind of stupid.
Right.
And unfortunately, I agree with you. This not fun thing, I guess, with the clowns popping up. This prank thing is it's just it was probably, I agree, it was probably something to promote that, but it ended up being a horrible idea.
You know what it ended up being?
What?
Oh. It...
And his name is John C.
I'm gonna have too much fun with that button.
Brought to
Now
you
that's a
by
button.
John Cena.
Brought to you by, and his name's John. Okay, so we're running low on time, and I actually think that's the last story we had.
I think so. Yeah.
And we did a lot of babbling today. I like to babble quite a bit.
Well, I get on tangents and I rant about a lot of things, so you probably all got tired of hearing me complain about Batman today, so I apologize.
You've just heard Logan's Rant of the Week.
And today, Logan complains about Batman.
Brought to you by...
And his name is John C. We are in no way associated with John Cena or his entities.
No, but it's, yeah. So anyway, so we've reached the end of our show. As I say, I want to thank Logan for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I always enjoy being on.
I know you do. There was one day I hadn't heard from Logan in a little while, and I texted him, and he just hadn't responded. He'd been locked up in his apartment. One day, it's like one Saturday, he's like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And he's like, "What are you doing on Monday? You still doing your show? Can I come on your show?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you're always invited still." So I get these random texts from Logan like, "Hey, man, can I come on your show again?" I'm like, "Yeah, no problem."
Great, be there in 5.
Yeah, he'll be like, "Great, I'll be there in 5 minutes." And we hang out for a long time. No, it's always good to have you on, Logan.
Well, thank you.
Logan's
I
a good
like
friend of
being
mine. So as always, this is a show where we talk about the topics you care about, like I say in the intro. So tell us what you care about. Tell us what topics you care about. If if you like the scary movie stories that we were talking about, let me know. By the way, just to let you know, I'm not watching any scary movies. I don't do those. So if we ever have to do reviews on movies,
I would, but a lot of them suck nowadays. So I haven't found one that's actually. I've never been afraid to turn the light out after watching a scary movie I've seen. Yet.
Okay, how about this? I'll send Logan to watch a movie and he can review it for us.
I will report back and probably just make fun of it for like 30 minutes.
Or he'll go on rants about Batman.
Yeah, it'll probably end up coming back to Batman, and then I'll complain for another. That or Star Wars, and I'll complain about it for like 40 minutes and be like, I love this, but I hate it.
Or to come back to you.
And his name is John C.
Oh, man.
Our goal is to overuse that by the end of the show today, so to make it not funny.
I think we're already there.
Right.
No, anyway, so if you like any of the topics we talk about, don't like the topics, please let me know.